Hi, everybody. I am so sorry. I am really late. I do apologize. I had to run around, but I had to schedule this. So I'm here, though. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hold up. We're going to get started right away. We live now. Hopefully, notifications went out or they're going out now. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. Hold up. Let me see. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Shout out to everybody. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. We're going to get started here pretty soon. Let me let the people know in the Discord that we are up and running and everything. Good morning. If you guys missed our video yesterday, this is going to kind of follow up with that. There it is. Okay, went through. All right, shout out to everybody that's coming through. We did a pre-recorded yesterday on Brendan Paul, the rug mule. Okay. Oh, my hair's all crazy. Look at this. On the rug mule. And I did the video and I did the transcript read, which was very interesting, I will say. Overall, I think I have a different perspective of the situation as far as the rugs. Okay. Now, here's the deal. After Brendan Paul left, there was like the reading of messages. And so many of these messages are with KRISTINA KHORRAM, KK, right? Who the prosecution has dubbed the co-conspirator. Even though she has not been charged, even though there has been no indictment, there has been nothing on KK. I think when we first started, we thought KK was going to take the stand. I know I anticipated that, right? That at the very least she was going to do like immunity or something was going to happen, right? No, that's not the case. We don't even have that, right? The New York Times did, not to be confused with the New York Post, the New York Times, which I still don't like them. Let's be very real. I don't like the New York Times, but the New York Times did a piece on KK, KRISTINA KHORRAM. And they really said nothing like that was too revealing that we didn't already know. Number one, she's a co-conspirator. She is not testifying. Okay, clearly we're at the tail end. So I think she's probably going to have her own trial at some point, depending on the outcome of this trial. I'm pretty sure. That's what it seems like to me, which would make sense, honestly, that it's like the way in which I don't know if we're gonna go after Diddy, and if you are to believe that there's legitimacy in these charges. I don't know how you cannot not go after, how you cannot charge KK. Like, you would have to charge KK. Just makes sense to me. Brendan Paul is, I wouldn't necessarily call him a rug mule, because I don't think he was, and I have no problem saying that. But I feel like there were so many objections, and this is what I wanted to tell you guys yesterday that I didn't really say in my commentary. There were so many objections from both sides, but one thing that stood out to me when Brian Steele was doing the cross with Brendan Paul, and he was trying to kind of get him to, like, say what his position was. The government had a problem with him basically clarifying that he wasn't just some drug mule, that he was an actual assistant. And I don't think that any of these assistants, to be fair, like your George Kaplan or the other guy, right? I don't think that they necessarily applied to become rug mules, if that makes sense. Like, they legitimately applied for a job. And putting myself in that position, because I think that, I've graduated college twice. And luckily on my, when I graduated with my master's, I mean, I was in a job and in a career that way, but I knew what it was like when you're kind of graduating college with an undergraduate, and you're offered an opportunity in a position. And his specific degree, I guess, was somewhere along the lines of music industry. So this was an opportunity. They're offering you $75,000 to be an assistant. And what did the other person that was mentioned say? Hey, Get in and get out. Break up with your girlfriend. Do what you have to do. And I thought, oh, okay. Now that I have the transcripts, I feel like I have a little bit more context to that. That it wasn't like you got to get in and get out. It was more like, yeah, get in, do your time, get your connections, start your networking, and get out, which is what a lot of smart people would have done. They wouldn't have probably stayed in that position with Diddy. And I don't get why anybody, well, I mean, even KRISTINA KHORRAM, that I'm like, lady, you stay there for 10 years. Like, whether this man is found guilty or not, her career is never going to be the same, guys. She would, like, let's just say that he's found not guilty. She's literally going to have to stay with Diddy or figure something else out. Think about it. Going to college for so many years, and you're working for this man, and now you're considered a co-conspirator. Like, literally, whether he's found guilty or innocent, whatever it may be, she literally has to build herself up again, her portfolio, because it's not going to work anymore. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. That's just my opinion on that. So even though KK wasn't at the trial, there were so many messages that a lot of outlets, shout out to Inner City Press, of course, but a lot of the people that were out there didn't really capture. We have those messages. Now, after Brandon Paul leaves the stand, there was a moment where they decide, meaning the government decided to read a bunch of exhibits. And when I mean a bunch of exhibits, I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean. I don't want to lose my page. 111. Okay. Look at this. These exhibits, my friend, right at the index, all those numbers right there, I'll make myself smaller. Okay. And I'll zoom in. Give you guys an idea. Some of which are under seal, some of which are not. Some of these are messages. Some of these are pictures. Some of these are audio recordings. Gives you an idea of how many exhibits. So when this whole situation happened, and they said they had 3,600 to 500 exhibits or pieces of information or evidence to go through, there you go. These are just some. I'm pretty sure this is not all of them, but it gives you an idea of the number, and then versus the number of exhibits from the defense side. That's a lot of effing exhibits. So I was like, well, some of them, like KK is not on the stand, which would make sense why the government was reading messages with KK. Okay, so after they read those messages, then they get into the officer that went to testify. Now, I'm not going to read the officers today because I'm like, it's too long. We don't have time. I don't have time. I only have about an hour today. And I actually decided to take time off this week for the most part. I still did, a video yesterday, but I was like, I have a lot of catching up to do, but I'm too tired. I was actually too tired to kind of do anything other than just to work on Brandon Paul. So here we are today. And then after today, I'm really going to rest. I feel like I have a lot of sleeping to catch up to, and I really don't want to get sick. That's the thing. It's like, it's the last freaking week, guys. We are in the long stretch at this point. Okay. So with that being said, this isn't too bad. I'm only reading from 111 to 33. Is that when they stop? Let me see. Nope. Before that. Because the attorneys have a sidebar. There's a recess, jury present. Let's see. I'm just checking. Next page. Is it 131? I just want to put a marker. Yeah, we're going to stop at 131, 111 to 131. Okay. Hey, and again, shout out to the people that have supported the channel by donating, hitting the like button, a super chat. Like, you guys don't even know how amazing it's been to like be able to do this. But I really appreciate it. And we got one more week and we go and definitely do this. All right. Let's get it together, guys. Hit the like button and let's share. Okay. Shout out to everybody. So the last witness is excused, which is Brandon Paul. If you did not watch that video, check it out. We dropped it yesterday. Okay. After Brandon Paul leaves, the court says the government may call its next witness. Comey says, Your Honor, I believe we have some exhibits that we wanted to read into the record first. If that's all right, I'll defer to Miss Miser. Miss Miser's for the government, okay? Miss Miser says, Your Honor, the government next will offer exhibits that are listed in government's exhibits 1511, which is demonstrative. And let's see, make sure that I put this up here. Hold up. Because I can't really pay attention to the chat too much. So I think, there we go. Setting myself up. Your Honor, the government next will offer exhibits that are listed in government's exhibits 1511, which is demonstrative. And Ms. Foster, could you please put that up on the screen? I will hand a copy up to the court reporter, but this demonstrative exhibits, government exhibits 1511 contains exhibits, some of which are designated as sealed pursuant to a court pseudonym order. And I would ask that all of these be admitted per the term in government's exhibit 1511. Any objections? Says the court, Mr. Discroll. And he says, I'm just waiting to see on the screen, Your Honor. Okay. Garrigo speaks and said, I don't believe we have any objection to these, Your Honor. Okay. Court says, did you say hopefully? Garrigo says, no, we do not have any objections to any of these. Okay. So these are all the exhibits. I just told you guys there's a lot of numbers. Give you guys an example. All these numbers were read out and submitted as exhibits. Okay. All right. So Ms. Foster, could you please pull up what is in evidence as government exhibit C 641 and turn to page 4, please? I'm going to start reading with the second text on this page, which is from Mr. Combs. All right, we're reading text messages. And this is Mr. Combs. After studio, I'm going off the grid until 12 p.m. Be at the house at 1 for the 3 p.m. You clear now? And spoke to Ben and team. They're cool. Love. I'm done. Not speaking anymore. Do you have one person I can count on? Because I can't do it. The rest can something else. Stop right here. Somebody else, which I believe might be Miss Comey, is reading for KRISTINA KHORRAM. So now these are messages from KRISTINA KHORRAM. KRISTINA KHORRAM in the messages says, okay. And liked after studio, I'm going after, so she says, okay, liked after studio, I'm going after grid until 12 p.m. Okay. And then Comey says, can we read the next page or can we go to the next page? KRISTINA KHORRAM continues. For off the grid moment, I prefer you use Joey. He is trustworthy, as you know. Or we can also ask Frank to come in. If I can't get him to answer his phone, I just had a talk with all of them as well. Today seems stress driven. Let's turn it around and breathe. Try and have fun at the game. And then you won't have your release moments tonight after the studio. We control our energy. Stay light. A conversation between Sean Diddy Combs and KK, and this is KK's full message. Mr. Combs responds, I want Frank. I don't want to speak to anyone. I'm done. And if you can't give me better, I can't take no more. I can't. My life is the same bullish every day. I'm about to cancel everything. The presentation is not done. Album not done. Video not done. New video not done. Roots not done. Assistants out of whack and on and on. June can't remember a t-shirt, etc., etc., etc. Whack. Damn. Just giving you guys an 8. Let's put Diddy in blue. There we go. Quorum response. I'll call Frank again now. Combs says, whatever. What's the plan? Quorum response. Let's see. Put in blue. Come on. Quorum response. sending someone to Frank's apartment because he's not answering anyone's calls. I will track him down and he can help you. If you need any setup or anything, just let me know and I can have the guys help, but stay out of your sight and do before you even get anywhere. June is making sure he always has 3 to 4 backups of all basic things you ever asked for. He will be making sure he has all those by tomorrow. Assistants are on track to make sure they stay on point and not drop the ball on any little thing. They will be staying clear away from you tonight unless you change your mind. That's what KK said to Diddy. That's what he said. Okay. Combs responds to Mr. Combs. Okay, so have Joey stay. Don't worry about Frank. And these were sent, Comey speaks, and these were sent on April 25th of 2023. Could you take that down, please, and pull up government exhibit A430E, and let's turn to the first page. Can you zoom in on these texts, please? The first one is sent on May 15, 2023, from Mr. Combs to Ms. Khorram. Okay. Another message is read from Mr. Combs to Ms. Khorram. Who can go set room? Okay. Let's put that in blue. Who can go set room? Khorram response. I'll get it handled. Can they go now? Can we turn to the next page, please? Comey says. Can we turn to the next page, please? Combs response. Who is it? Khorram says, John or Brandon. They can both help to make it faster. Normally, I would send Frank or Joey, but my hands are tied. Frank called out from work again today, and it's Joey's birthday today, so he's off. Then there is an audio message. So could we please play for government exhibits A430E1? Again, this is Comey saying there's an audio message of this, and they play it. Media plays. Miser says, please go to the next page. And the next page sounds like is Khorram. It says Mr. Khorram, but I'm pretty sure they meant to say Khorram response, but we'll read it. I don't, but right now he's at the house. So having him help gather stuff if you are moving fast, then John can go in the room if possible. How fast are you moving? Yes, this is Khorram telling, responding and asking people, how fast are you moving? Set up the house, that type of situation. Mr. Combs sends an audio message. So could you please play government exhibits A430E2? Okay. So Comey or one of the government officials is asking for another exhibit to be played. Miser reads for Khorram. Khorram responds, okay, John, we'll go to hotel. Mr. Combs then responds, I need John to go to her now, please. Khorram responds, okay, he is leaving now. Mr. Combs responds, please now. He should have been left. You can take that down. Excuse me. It's not part of the message. You can take that down, says the government. Johnson says, and Your Honor, we have another few messages threads to enter into the record. And if it's okay with the court, we would propose a break after these threads. The court says, all right, very good. Okay. So Ms. Johnson asked Ms. Foster to pull up more government exhibits. This specific government exhibit is from highlighting the date of March 12, 2017 to March 14, 2017 in New York City. Okay. She asked for them to turn to page 2. And starting at the second thread, which is from Mr. Combs, sent on March 13th, 2017 at 2:15 a.m. UTC, from Mr. Combs to Cassandra Ventura. All right, more messages. Mr. Combs speaks. Do you want me to hit Garen for big man? LOL. Okay. Government speaks. Go to the next page, please. Government reads Miss Ventura. You can if you want. You only sent one pic. Next message from Mr. Combs. RM 4901. Another message from Mr. Combs. Call me. Government speaks. That message is sent on March 13th, 2017 at 4:37 a.m. Okay. The next message from Miss Ventura to Mr. Combs is sent March 13th, 2017 at about 1:59 p.m. UTC. It reads, WTF, really? Next page, please. I think it will always be black and white. You threw out all my shit. I can't dig it. You skip the next. You skip the next 2 pages, please. Okay, government is interjecting. You can skip to the next 2 pages, please. Here it is. Picking up at 2:03 p.m. UTC from Miss Ventura. Nah, I didn't. You bust my head in. Beat. Asterisk, asterisk. From Mr. Combs. You're crazy. From Miss Ventura. Okay. From Mr. Combs. Let's stop talking. You dead wrong. Flipping on me for what? From Miss Ventura. Ain't flipping. I can come back so we can talk. But you know I fight. Mr. Combs. What? Fight who? Exclamation point. Question mark. Message from Miss Ventura. I'm just at the door. Just LMK. What am I supposed to do? From Mr. Combs. So we're clear this time. We're taking a break. This is really how you want to leave this? You sure? From Miss Ventura. No, I just don't want to be beat down for being defiant or ever. You treat me and make me feel like I don't matter. From Mr. Combs. You started all of this. You really think you can have me jerk my D for 10 hours and not come? You nuts. You're nuts. 1 minute, you down asking about ish. Then the next minute, you acting like you doing something you don't want to. Make up your minds. I'm trying to figure out how I get this peanut out of my D. Hoy, let me stop right here. Whoo, this is my first time reading this transcript. Lord have mercy. The censorship. Oh my God. I got my water, I got my grape drink, and I got my coffee. Sorry, y'all. I was not because when inner city press writes stuff like this, it's like, oh my God. The nutty arrival, you ain't never lie. But this is the messages. He said right there, let me stop. Hold up. These are messages that they're reading. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I can get this peanut out of my D. That's what it said. It's too early for this. Oh my God. And I'm not trying to say the other word because I don't want to get censored, but I'm just letting you know. Oh man. Okay. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hit the like button, guys, please and thank you. I would appreciate it, especially with this kind of, we don't want to get censored or anything like that. Hitting the like button does help. I don't know, man. All right. Jesus wept. Somebody wept. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. So after he says that, Miss Ventura message. I guess I'm not down with abuse. It doesn't make sense to me. A message from Mr. Combs. I got you. So all this is happening without you tripping? From Mr. Combs, another message. I damn sure don't MK sense to me. Ventura, a message from Ventura. You hit me in the head 2 good times. That didn't make me feel good. I know I'm not crazy. Combs speaks. I'm hurt. I'm tired of this you have disrespected so much in the last 12 months. I have no respect for you to play me in front of a D. Wow. You think you talking to on off your little F boys? They can have you with that ish. I'm not taking no more. What? Not Diddy. Not Diddy not taking no more. Okay. That's from Mr. Combs. Ventura responds, okay. And if you can skip ahead, government speaks. And if you could skip ahead 2 pages to the bottom from Mr. Combs on March 13th at about 2:46 p.m. Did you ever hold up? There's a quote that they're reading from somebody. Did you ever get any female escorts nums? I don't know if this is from Diddy. It sounds like it might be. They're quoting another message that he might have written here. I think it might be from him. Did you ever get any female escorts nums? Okay. Then government speaks. You can take that down now and please pull up government exhibit B414. And can you go to page 2, please? Okay. Government continues speaking. And from Ms. Ventura to Mr. Combs on March 18, 2017 at 5:53 p.m. UTC. At this point, and this is a quote, government is reading. At this point, you can tell me and I'm listening. You at a point in your life where you want to party and have a good time. And I'm at a point where I have to focus or I'll never become anything. I'm not saying I can't ever party. I had so much fun in Miami, but then I realized that I'm doing that open the door to that being my sole purpose in seeing you. I know if I had said no to sit it in New York, it would have been a problem. Those were my last nights with you. You only see me one way. You treat me like a cooker, to be honest. You always want to call one so bad, and you have one. This cooker has been here for 10 years. Okay. Pretty sure this is Cassie. Yep. A message from Miss Ventura. Combs' response to the message. Wow. Okay, government speaks. Can we take that down and can we please pull up government exhibit, which is a photograph? I'm sorry, that's my fault. B421A. Okay. Can you take that down, Miss Foster? And can you please pull up government exhibit B421 and and can you start at page 4, please? Okay. From a communication on May 2nd, 2017, at about 3:18 p.m. UTC from Miss Ventura to Mr. Combs. That was you. You hurt me so bad. I'm so effed up and so heartbroken. I never intended to show you did respect, if that's what you felt, but some of your values are loose. All I wanted was to have a good time, and you took all of your anger out on me per usual. I know I don't treat you badly. I might say some B-ish here and there, but I'm not a bad person. Okay. So this was a message again from Miss Ventura to Mr. Combs. Next page, says the government. The message continues from Ventura to Combs. I might say some BS ish here and there, but I'm not a bad person. I just appreciate and love you. I can't sleep. I've been crying since I got here. I don't understand what you expect of me sometimes. I smile, I'm happy. I love you, I give you love. And as soon as I turn my head for a second and you get effed up, you drag me down the hall by my hair. I'm 30 years old. This isn't play anymore. I felt like I was dead last night and it wasn't happening to me because seeing my light was so beautiful. Okay. Government speaks. Focusing on the bottom. Focusing on the bottom message, please. Message continues. I was serious about Rita coming over because that's what you wanted. And I had no attitude despite what you felt. I was scared of your rage. I talked out of line sometimes, and I do apologize. But that doesn't mean Jay don't love you. And the I love you more for me shouldn't equate to what you do for me. I'm so in love with you and you can't even see it. And my heart is shattered that you acted the way you did. Physicalities, take it somewhere else. Boris had to tackle you, Puff. That's not love, that's possession. And I have been getting cuts. This is Cassie to Diddy. Now, let me put a little side note timeout here. That is Rita Ora, by the way. We were talking about this back and forth on this yesterday. That's Rita Ora who they're mentioning. Okay. And there's articles actually of them partying and stuff like that. Okay. Okay. From Mr. Combs. So Diddy to Ventura on May 7th, 2017 at about 3:26 p.m. UTC. That makes two of us. I'm not gonna let some ish on me when all I've done was be nice. You broke my heart this time. You were negative all night. And then when owner said we can't have people over, you flipped. You don't treat me like the king. Any other woman in the world would have been so happy, but not you. You're whack for not keeping it real. I'm not going to go back and forth when I and everyone knows you were acting like a little bee. I can't take it anymore. I wanted after a night like that for my woman to be so happy. If you a different type of unappreciated if you a different type of unappreciated chick, you did and you effed up. Okay. Government speaks. Can you take that down, please? And pull government exhibit B424, please. Okay. Okay. Now, this exhibit, it says, this is from Mr. Combs to Miss Ventura on May 2nd at 3:38 p.m. UTC. You need to ask someone how you were acting. If I would have did all of that for any girl in the world, she would have been so happy and so nice to me. But no, not you. Always talking back and all effing night. I wish I didn't waste my time, money, and energy. I'm heartbroken and going back to bed. You should get some rest also. Maybe you'll see clear. Okay. Now, more messages from Miss Ventura to Combs. Talk to your people. They'll tell you, or they won't because all they do is suck you. KK won't. Talk to her. And I didn't ask to go to Met, so don't put that on me. I asked to have my record come out after a million years. And can you okay, hold up. That's where it stops. Sorry. So I asked to take my record out after a million years. That's what Cassie said to Diddy. Government speaks. And can you take that down? Pull up government exhibit 1411, page 5, line 74, which is a text from Miss Ventura to Khorram. All right. A text from Miss Ventura to Khorram reading. I'm sure. Okay. On May 2nd, 2017, at about 3:54 p.m. UTC, it continues. I'm sure you don't want to get involved, but he said I was an a-hole, which I owned up. But no one deserves being dragged by their hair. I locked the door for my safety. Okay. Miss Guerra goes for the defense, interjects here. And actually, we saw this live during the read of what was going on. Miss Garrigo says, We have a 106 issues, Your Honor. I would like to read other parts of those messages right now, please. Court says, all right. Any objections? Ms. Johnson for the government says, of the ones I displayed, Garrigo says, yes. Court says, all right, Ms. Garrigos, you may proceed. Garrigo says, thank you. Can we please bring up government exhibit B dash 414, please? We can go to page 2. The court says, Ms. Johnson, you're standing up. Before you start reading, is there an issue? Johnson says, yes. Can I confer with Ms. Garrigos briefly? Yes, you may. Okay. Now, hold up. I got to clear my throat, guys. I think you're right, Venus Blue. I think the 106 issue is an argument for completeness. Half messages or half not messages type of situation. I agree with you on that. Hey, did you guys hit the like button, please? And thank you. Support the channel, share, please, and thank you. All right, let's keep going. So they're having an issue. All right. The jury's not present. Ms. Garrigos, are you prepared to proceed? Says the court. Garrigos says, I'm sorry. I think we need a break. Okay, wait. The jury's there. At some point, they're going to go. Garrigo says, I think we need a break, Your Honor, to discuss some things. The court says, we're going to take a short break. We're going to be ending early today, which they did at 1. Yeah, Friday. So they took a short break, and the jury's not present. The court speaks. Ms. Garrigos, is there anything to raise now, or do you need time to work things out with Ms. Johnson? Garrigo says, I think I could put this on the record. There was a 106 objection that we had that we met and conferred about for my records. We expanded this exhibit, which is B 414 H. We had requested, and the government had agreed to include the later message where Miss Ventura writes, I love our FOs when we both wanted. Our revised versions has that. It was not read into the record. We need to read that into the record right after this break, says Garrigos. Johnson speaks. I need a moment to look back through all of the 106 objections. The versions I have don't have that text, but I need a moment to look at that. In addition, 106 is to the admissibility of evidence. If Ms. Garrigos wants to read this in her case in chief, that's fine, but it does not need to be read into the record of our case. Garrigo speaks, Your Honor, they chose to read this in after their summary witness got off the stand. 106 is not just when it's not just a matter of when the government feels that we can put in a message. We're asking under 106 for the entirety of the messages to have it be understood properly, which is what 106 requires. To have the jury see the next page of this, which is Miss Ventura saying, I love our FOs when we both want it. To have to wait until our case in chief to read the next page would be highly prejudicial and not in keeping with 106. I do remember, side note, I do remember that was a message that they had read during the charts. So there's that. I'm not sure why it's not included here, but I think that was a message that they had read during charts, if I remember that. I do. Mm-hmm. Okay. The court says, let me ask Ms. Johnson to make sure I understand the issue. Okay. This is B 414 in evidence. Garrigo says, yes, this is what we have. What the defense has was revised after our confederals with the government because we had requested these last 2 pages. They are important to understanding the entire communication. The court says, I understand that. So this is all in evidence. And for some reason, everyone is reading stuff that's already in evidence to the jury. Okay. And then there's no objection from the defense as to Ms. Miser and Ms. Johnson doing that. You're saying you'd like to read it, but what's the basis for that? This is the court. Because I think Ms. Johnson is saying this is all in evidence. And so Rule 106 just relates to the introduction of statements into evidence. And so, what she's saying is, in terms of the reading of things, like you can read whatever you want that's in evidence on your case, but on what basis do you get to read it on the government's case based on what the government put forth? Garrigo speaks. The government put on a summary witness, had this evidence in their chart for the summary witness. See, I knew that they read it somewhere in their chart. Side note. I would have to read it on cross examination if I knew that they were going to do this after. Once they did it after, I didn't object because I thought they would read the entire exhibit, because that leaves a prejudicial impressions for the jury to not have the communication to two messages after that says I love RFOs, and to do it after the witness is off and the stand and say that I can't put in these messages because I have to wait until the case in chief is highly prejudicial to the defendant. That's what Garrigo says. The court speaks. What's the basis for you doing what you want to do? If you've got a basis for what you want to do, I'm all ears. Garrigo says, it's misleading, Your Honor. It is misleading. We didn't object to them reading things in evidence because we didn't understand that they were going to only read portions. So, what's the basis? It leaves a misleading effect on the jury. The court says, like, literally, what you want to do is read these 4 text messages? Garrigo says, these are all I'm asking to do. I'm going to read the defense exhibits that we put in after these messages. But there was a time and place for Miss Johnson to do this. It was with Special Agent Penland. I went through the messages and details, and they did not do that. And so now they're doing that at this point, but then I should be able to read what I had asked for at 106. And let me just back up, Your Honor. Okay. Continues. We went through this exhaustive process with Miss Ventura when she went on her direct to introduce a lot of these messages for the sake of efficiency for the court, the parties, and the jury, so that she wouldn't have to be on the stand for longer than she had to. So this was introduced at that time. And I wasn't expecting that because it was introduced at that time. At a later point, I wouldn't be able to read the revised messages because at that time of the introduction, they decided not to ask Ms. Ventura about this. So it's prejudicial and misleading, says Garrigos. Ooh. Garrigos. Okay. Court says, hold on. Is there anything else than these 4? Garrigo says, no, that's it. Court says, here is how I would resolve that. I think as a technical matter, Ms. Johnson, you're correct on 106 relates to the introduction of evidence, meaning the admission of certain evidence. However, looking at the advisory committee notes, the way in which this is supposed to work or what it's supposed to apply to is when there's actually a witness on the stand or evidence being presented to the jury that would be misleading and create a misimpression if certain other completing statements were not also shared with the jury at the exact same time. That's the reason for the rule. There are the examples. Those are the examples that are given in the rule. So while the parties, through agreements, have introduced these exhibits into evidence, when the government is reading certain exhibits into evidence, I think it's fair at that time to have the completing statements also read, because for the same reason as the rule contemplates, that failure to do so would leave a misimpression in the jury's mind potentially. So since there's no objection, this is already all in evidence. We're talking about 4 messages, and 4 messages that are coming right after the messages the government read to the jury. I think it's fair for the defense to read those without any further comment with what they have to do with everything. Okay. Sounds like the judge is saying, hey, it's okay to read them. All right. Okay, let's keep going. Johnson says, Your Honor, I would ask 2 things of the court. I certainly did not intend to be misleading here. As the court may remember, Miss Ventura's exhibits were not a straightforward process. I thought that the exhibits that was admitted did not have the last two messages. I was not trying to be misleading to the jury. So if the court will allow those four messages to be read, I would like to read them because I don't want to leave them with a misimpression. Court says that's fair. Jeez. They're arguing over reading messages, guys. Like, you can't make this ish up. All right, let's keep going. Miss Johnson says, if that is the standard, I will say that we don't stand up on cross and ask for other portions to be read. 106 is about admissibility of a document, not about what comes in when either side presents it. The court speaks. I didn't understand the last point you're making. You're saying that when you have a witness on the stand, you go through a message. You obviously don't go through everything, right? Johnson says, exactly. Okay. Court says, right. But that's because in cross-examination, the defense can come back and complete anything they want. So there could be an objection raised, I suppose, given the nature of the statements and that what you're actually eliciting. But the way the parties have handled it, and Ms. Garagos, you can correct me, by the way it's been handled to date, is that the government asks whatever they want on direct and on cross. Then you ask about the different other statements that are made. That's just how it's been handled. Here, there is no witness on the stand, so you're reading things into the record. So if you're reading things into the record, then I'm not sure that it should be treated in any different way. Meaning, we could do it with Miss Garagos completing the statements, but Miss Johnson, you say you'll do it. There's no objection to that. So you can go ahead and do it. But this is an atypical circumstance because we haven't had that many circumstances where anything has to be read into the record that's already in evidence in the way the government just did. It's happened a couple times without any dispute or objections from the defense. The defense has an objection in this particular instance. I think it may have more to do with just the number of documents and exhibits that overlap with each other. And that's why it happens this time. But it's easy enough to clean up so that there is no even potential prejudice. Oh my God. It's like, read the messages or don't, like, read them all. They're already in evidence. I'm sorry, this is me ranting. That's not in the transcripts. They're already there. So we're arguing about what's being read out loud, but we're missing, like, all of it should be read out loud, right? Am I going crazy here? Maybe I'm taking crazy pills. I don't know what the issue is. Like, read them all. They've already been all of them should be read. That's how I see this. But let me know what you guys think. Mention it all. Because it does look a little misleading. But at the same time, it's like, oh, come on now. All right, whatever. Let's keep going. Garagos speaks. That's right. And also, when they have a witness on direct and skip ahead, we don't object to that either because that's what direct and cross are for. They can go back to any messages and that are not read out loud. This is just in this particular circumstances that there is no misleading impression left with the jury. Court says understood. Anything else before we take a 12-minute break now? Garrigo says, not from us, Your Honor. Okay, we'll take a 12-minute break. They take a 12-minute break. Okay, the jury's back. We got to finish this up. We're almost done, y'all. But like, just read it all. Read it all. I mean, at the end of the day, when the jury goes back in deliberations, they're going to get a copy of all this. Really, the reason I say read it all is really for the record, for all of us to be able to read what's happening, because there's a lot of information that we're not getting clearly that the jury's going to get, but they have to make the decision, right? So I think it would make sense, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments about this, okay? Jury's present. Okay, the court says, please be seated. Anything else from the government before it calls its next witness? Johnson says, yes, Your Honor, we'd like to finish reading one of the chats into the record. The court says, all right. Okay, so they're reading one more. And Johnson says, and with apologies, I read the long version that time. Can you please go back to page 2, please, Ms. Becker? Zoom in on that. Okay. Starting from the beginning, Miss Ventura. So there's a message from Miss Ventura to Mr. Combs on March 18th, 2017 at about 5:35 p.m. UTC. At this point, you've been telling me and I'm listening. Okay, so this is Cassie. You're at a point in your life where you want to party and have a good time. And I'm at a point where I have to focus or I'll never become anything. I'm not saying I can't ever party. I had so much fun in Miami, but then I realized doing that opened the door to that being my sole purpose in seeing you. I knew if I said no to it in New York, it would have been a problem. Those were my last nights with you. You only see me one way. You treat me like a cooker. To be honest, you always want to call one. To be honest, you always want to call one so bad. And you have one. This cooker has been here for 10 years. Combs says, wow. Okay. Going to the next page. Miss Ventura, another message, Miss Ventura to Mr. Combs. Please don't play victim. Cassie tells Mr. Combs, please don't play victim. If you can go to our last message. That's all you wanted. And that's why I was upset. Okay. I love our FOs. Go to the last page when we both want it. Court says, with that, the government will call its next witness. Your Honor, we call Joseph Cedillo. All right. So Joseph Cedillo is the next witness. We're not going to read Joseph, but they do read the entire message. I think this is an important thing to reflect on what that message that they were going back and forth on. Again, this is a message from Cassie Ventura to Mr. Combs. Please don't play victim. If you can, go to our last message. That's all you wanted. And that's what I was upset. I love our FOs. Go to the last page. When we both want them or want it. Okay. That's what was said. When was whose testimony? Elsa, thank you so much for the $2. When was whose testimony? I'm confused by your question. This was Friday. So this was Friday's transcripts. So when you go to the last of it, and let me see if we can go to the very last page, because this is the agent. They're doing the charting thing, okay? And I just don't have time to go through this, but I'll review it later, maybe do a shorter video on it if you guys are interested. So let me go to the last page because the only thing that they needed was the courtroom. Like Donaldson said, I made an inquiry with MDC to see what the situation in a minute. So they have to meet with Diddy. And so they were asking for the courtroom, but there was nothing else. I'll give you guys an idea of what Agnifilo is saying about next week or this Monday. Okay. Let me tell you guys. Let me see. Let's go back a little bit. The court says this was at the end of the day when everybody was already dismissed. Then we can plan to go through the rest of the government's case on Monday and then have Rule 29 arguments because they have to argue. There's a lot of arguments that they have. Hold up. Let me see. Let me see. I don't want to. Okay, here it is. Miss Comey says, Your Honor, I have one very big chart to go through after this that might take a couple of hours. So I think I might take up the lunch break on Monday. So there's going to be a huge chart with this witness on Monday. After having conferred with Ms. Garagos, she might take us through the end of the day. So I think we'll hopefully rest at the end of Monday. At the end of the day on Monday. So the prosecution plans to rest tomorrow, Monday. Okay? Tomorrow, Monday, it looks like Cercillo is going to be who is an agent. He's going to be the one that's going to take the stand. And so prosecutor, they plan to rest on Monday. Keep that in mind. Okay? Now, let's see. Court says, then we plan to go through the rest of the government arguments case on Monday. Then we have Rule 29 arguments after that, and then we can hopefully knock those out on Monday. Comey says that's right, Your Honor. it would be helpful for us to have a sense of what's coming in the defense's case so that we can erase any issues from your honor over the weekend. Court says that's all right. Agnifilo speaks. I expect this is the defense. I expect our defense case is going to be on a shorter side, even than what I estimated earlier in the week. So that what we'll do is we have the weekend, we'll solidify a few things we have to discuss internally. And I think we can give the government probably 100%, view, something over the weekend. And we will. And we will. One of the things, just looking forward to what the court has to do, I think that and if we end the government's case, we have Rule 29 on Monday, I think we would be fully rested Tuesday or Wednesday. Defense plans to be done either Tuesday or Wednesday. We might be on a verdict watch all next week. I mean, it just depends how quick the jury comes back. But I mean, we're going to be on verdict watch Tuesday or Wednesday. We might have a verdict by Friday. I mean, unless they feel like you never know. It could take. We don't know. And the thing is, though, I don't know if you guys saw the charging document. I said, okay, what do you guys think about that charging document? That's what I want to know. What do you guys think? Let me know. Because I maybe I thought that there would have been more. Maybe it's so short, substance-wise. I don't know. Let me know. It's crazy that we're almost done here, guys, with this whole situation. But okay, let's keep going. So they're going to rest either Tuesday or Wednesday. And he says, Agnifilo says, that it's become clear to us, we'll tell the government, we'll also tell your honor, I know your honor is working on, you said you were going to start drinking Celsius to try and get the jury in charge? Celsius? Drinking? Okay, there's a typo there. So that is what happened. And then Donaldson asked to borrow the room for longer. And it pretty much ends with that. There's nothing else eventful. Adjourn until 8:30. So that's where we're at. You said I've seen different sheets has a lot of RICO separates. I maybe I'm a little like surprised by the amount of information. I could be wrong. You said I've seen different sheets which has all of the RICO separated. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I expected the charging document to be looking a little bit different. I didn't expect to have it look like that. Hold up, y'all. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I think I posted it, but for those that were wondering, and some of you guys may if you're on the phone watching this, let me stop this. If you're on the phone watching this, you might not be able to see it, but if you're on the phone, all you have to do is double click the screen and this will become bigger. It's kind of like, well, it didn't do it here. See if I can make myself smaller. But this is what the charging document looks like. I just expected it to have maybe a little bit longer than this. I don't know. See, notice how they're putting the racketeering conspiracy, which is an umbrella term for a lot of things. And I thought maybe those would have been separated down too. But it literally says one count of racketeering. Count 2, S trafficking of Cassandra. And count 3, Mann Act transportation. And the what I found interesting too was that the workers weren't named in this document. It's literally Cassie and Jane. And then the Mann Act on Jane. That's kind of where we're at. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. Rabbit, I just want to thank you so much for doing what you do. Well, thank you so much, Jacqueline. And let me shout out somebody. Hey, I don't want to I gotta be careful. Hold up, y'all. You guys, I have other things on my radar right now. Thank you so much, Mary, for this Venmo. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, so I guess we're gonna find out what the news is gonna be next week. You think it's interesting? You guys think he's guilty? I mean, did they meet the bar? I don't know. What is the defense gonna do? Because it literally surprises me that they're really only going to need 2 days. Are you kidding me? I have a lot of questions, defense. Do your part. Do your job. Defend more. I don't know. Bring more witnesses. What about the other witnesses? I feel like we're missing so much out of this. But let me know. So does the charging document basically say if you're guilty, the jurors must think of a Cassie as a I don't know. I don't know how, if you're gonna say guilty for one, I don't know how you can say not guilty for another, if that makes sense. Because it seems like if you feel like they have met those predicates, then all of these would be. I'm confused. I don't know if it needs to be broken down. Maybe I can get a lawyer to explain that for us, so we'll find a video or something a little bit more on this charging document. But let me know what you guys think. And this is what I'm saying, Kelly, is that I've seen this too. That's why I'm a little surprised that it's not broken down a little bit more. But let me know. You think it's next level guilty? Some people feel like he's not. I said you guys are entitled to your opinion. You're I'm sorry, kind of be. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. You said, I'll be glad when we get past this trial and much better take the real mofos behind this machine. Well, is it? I don't know. Diddy doesn't give me, if he is found guilty, he doesn't give me singing like a canary personality at all. He doesn't give me that. This trial has been very interesting. I'll say that. I have learned so much following this from you guys specifically, but also just in general, having this kind of conversation with everybody. I just don't know. I don't know how it's going to go down. And people have said different things. They said that if he's found guilty, there's going to be a protest. They've said different things. You know, I just don't think, like Aduko, I don't think he's going to, like, if he's found guilty, I don't think that he is going to say anything. I don't. I think he's going to take it. I think he's going to take it. And here's my deal, man. KK, who now we have, like, if you think about those messages that we just read, guys, KK literally engaging him like, hey, like, yeah, I don't know. And somebody said in the chat, like, well, what do we expect KK to do? I mean, it's her job to keep this shit together. It may be. It might be your job. That's what they said, Queen. They said they were gonna have a protest. I've heard this. That all ish is gonna break loose outside of that courthouse. I don't know, man. I'm just here reporting the news. I guess we'll see what happens. See, Kraken, that's a good point. See, the problem with Rico, government gets all the funds of his. Civil victims may see nothing. And what does that say about, like, I'm telling you, this whole trial has maybe opened my eyes to a different area that I didn't know at all. There's other things that I'm looking at right now as we speak, but I don't want to say them out loud because I don't want to, put anything out there yet when I'm ready. KK, like I said, has been quiet, as she should be. If she, like, I think I would be quiet if I was her. I wouldn't be saying shit. I would be worried. I'm not trying to go to jail. I'm not. But at the same time, there's messages, and what we've seen from her is nothing but compliance on her end, and also cleanup. Compliance and cleanup of this situation, knowing what is going on. Now, did she know that that her enterprise, this enterprise that she was a part of, that it's all like part of if you believe it's a criminal organization, was she aware of that? I don't know. People have spoken out for KK. Like I said, the New York Times wrote a piece, and you know who spoke out? Let me show you guys. I got to share it. People did speak out. It was one of Diddy's girlfriends. Let me show you guys. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I think, was it Dana Tran? Or the girlfriend? What? I can't even keep track of how many children and how many mothers there exist. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Because I was reading this last night and I said, Oh, the lady's like, KK doesn't even, she's a sweet person. She doesn't even drink alcohol. She doesn't do anything. There are people that are speaking out for KK. They feel like she's being railroaded in this situation. I said, well, it sounds like she's going to have her own day in court. So there's that. Hold up. Let's see. Kristina Khorram, New York Times article. Is this it? Yeah. Full article. Let's see. Let me go to reader mode. Here it is. I pulled it up. Here it is. Dana Tran says a friend of Miss Khorram and the mother of she's a mother. That's right. She's one of them. Mr. Combs' youngest child, his daughter Love, said that the what is it? Portrait of KK is being portrayed in court bears no similarities to the woman she knows as Miss Combs' energetic, hardworking former aide. She coordinated a lot of his life, but not anything against anyone's will. Miss Tran said in a phone interview. She added, I've never seen KK break the law ever. She wouldn't make an illegal U-turn. That's what Dana's saying about KK. I haven't seen anybody else defend KK. No, it's the baby mama that's defending KK. What do you think, Ms. You're like, girl, bye. That's what she said. She said she's a friend of KK. And so she spoke to the New York Times and gave this statement to the New York Times. Yes, baby, Dana Trent is the youngest. I think it's the youngest child, right? The little baby, Love. That's the mother. Sorry, y'all. I can't keep. I only know of Kim Porter, and I think I stopped paying attention after Kim Porter. So she's saying, like, she wouldn't even make an illegal U-turn. She doesn't even drink, nothing like that. So she's being portrayed as this person, but she's not like that. Yeah, I know. What is your defense going to be? I don't know, man. So I was like, I read this. I said, oh, and this is a recent article. This is from, was it yesterday? Yeah, the today at 5. I read this early in the morning. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay. So she's defending KK. She's saying she didn't even know. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to read these messages that were as exhibits. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to be live tomorrow in the morning. So I got to go get some rest and rest my throat and my voice. And get some rest. Let me know what you guys think overall about this whole situation. Are you guys ready for this? You guys ready for this week? I'm ready, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a little nervous about what it's gonna be like next week. I hope you guys are here and you're hitting the like button, okay? And you're supporting the channel. I gotta go. Night Trump says he's gonna get away with it and he's gonna still be paying that one girl's rent. I don't want that to happen. But see, and people are saying, I'm telling you, I've talked to other lawyers. Night Charm, you're not that far off. I have talked to people that have said it's gonna be deadlock. It's gonna be this. It's gonna be that. So I said, listen, the defense might surprise us. You never know. I'm gonna take care of myself. I gotta go and take care of my throat because I could feel I gotta do all that. All right, I'll see you guys later. Shout out to everybody and thank you so much. Oh, hold up. Give me 1 second because I gotta go. I gotta knock at the door already. Thank you again, Mary, for the Venmo. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys. Bye, guys. Bye.